So what's going on, everybody? This is JohnJake Baseball on the mic here, coming at you with some more Season 2 action for the USBL. But it's around that time of year again. We're getting close to the All-Star break, and as per tradition, settled for the USBL here in its second season. I do want to make trades, so we are going to go ahead and get things kicked off here for Year 2 USBL trade day action. And with that being said, we got some more trades than what we did in season number 1. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. So let's go ahead and get it started here, probably with starting this trade day off with an absolute bang. We're going to start off with the Houston Hurricanes. Now, they were buyers back in season number 1, but in year 2, they have rode that struggle bus, and they are going to ship off Nick Anderson once again. A year after they traded him, he's still a 90 overall guy, but he's not a guy that makes a ton of appearances though. Only 19 games, does have 16 saves to his name, 16 for 18 on saves, so he's a good high-end backup catcher, but he's been a little bit on the decline as of late. He does have a 3.32 ERA. That is the highest that he's experienced since his first year at the professional level, so he's got that going for him as of right now. But that being said, Houston needs some guys all over the place. The Milwaukee Bears did end up winning the sweepstakes for the relief pitcher in Nick Anderson. They're going to get some bullpen help, and they are going to get it here. For the USBL player they're going to trade, they're going to get rid of Manny Pena, who is currently the backup catcher for the Milwaukee Bears as of right now. He's a 78 overall, 34 years old. He is starting to see some decline, but he is a solid player. He just doesn't get a lot of reps. 15 games, 54 at-bats. Batting .407 though, homer and 6 ribbies. He just needs some more opportunities to play. At least, allow him some playing time, because right now, he would be starting on quite a few USBL squads, including this Houston Hurricane squad. Then to go ahead and get their bullpen going in the future, they are going to pick up Matt Tabor, who isn't necessarily a top 50 prospect, but that being said, he is somebody that is pretty good in terms of the potential this guy has. A potential guy. He's up to his 65 overall, 6'2", 180 pounds, so he's got some good size. But then to top it all off as well, they will also pick up a top 25 prospect in Ronnie Mashirio. And the thing about him, he's sitting behind Logan Davidson. Now, Logan Davidson also has a potential, so there really isn't much room for Ronnie Mashirio as the full-time shortstop for the Milwaukee Bears in the near future. So this makes sense to ship him off and get a person that can really help them right now. Up next, we do end up having the Jacksonville Suns, who are going to try and part away with Chris Martin. Now, Chris Martin, he's a really old fellow, 35 years old. He is still pretty good, 81 overall, but I mean, he is a guy that is starting to see some decline himself, getting up there in age. In the last 2 years, he hasn't necessarily been that great, and he's on the last year of his contract as well. $7 million does seem like quite a bit to ask for. So, and they're not going to be really competing anytime soon. So this is more of a cash drop for Jacksonville. They are going to try and take a chance on first base. They only have 5 first basemen in their organization. They don't really have a good first baseman. And they're going to go and try and pick themselves up either Tyler Nelvin, or they're actually going to look at Gregory Samuel. Now, Gregory Samuel, he is a guy, he is a potential fellow. He is a 60 overall, though. Like, his power has really jumped off a cliff in AA, but he does have a chance to eventually see the USBL, maybe as a serviceable, maybe a platoon player, but not necessarily as an everyday player for the Jacksonville Suns. But that being said, though, Gregory Samuel will not be the only person that is included in this trade. They will also go ahead and attach Matt Dennis to the deal as well. Another pretty solid prospect. Not an A prospect, but he is pretty close to being an A prospect. He is a 65 overall, which is not too shabby. I don't know how much room he has to grow necessarily, but he hasn't been too terribly bad. 0-2 so far, 3 for 4 on saves, has a 3.15 ERA, and has a plethora of pitches that he can go to as well. And he's only $80,000 as well, and this is someone that could potentially step in and be a USBL caliber player someday. And it also opens up some space potentially for Terrain Patton Jr., who is in the bullpen. He is a AAA guy right now. He's pretty close to coming up. You know, only needs to surpass a couple more people. Maybe this opens up a roster spot for Terrain Patton Jr. So we knew that Denver was going to be in a little bit of a rebuild, and it's not really that surprising that they're still going to look for a little bit more help in their farm system, trying to beef it up a little bit more. As simply put, Sean Murphy is just not very happy right now. He's not happy with how the team is doing. He doesn't like his contract, only $580,000 that he's earning. He's one of the best players on this team, batting .272, 8 homers, and 25 ribbies. So they are going to reach out to the Philadelphia Patriots. They won the Sean Murphy sweepstakes. They will go ahead and end up picking up this catcher, Brian Torres. He's got B potential, 69 overall, 23 years of age, and doing pretty solid at the AAA level. 267, doesn't hit any home runs, but he does have 16 ribbies, and that's what's holding him back from the USBL level, that lack of power. But he's a pretty good defender. And then they are also in need of a right fielder, or at least some right field depth. So they are going to grab Hunter Renfroe, who is on the USBL roster, but has only played in 28 games. So he can come in and he can at least be a mentor for Austin Meadows, who is also currently on this roster right now. At least Hunter Renfroe could maybe step in and be designated hitter, while Austin Meadows can still go ahead and play in the field. Get him some nice mentorship, additional person in the locker room. They do also have Adam Duvall as well. So that's what the Denver Bald Eagles going to do with their USBL trade day transaction. But it is actually going to be the Atlanta Barons who are going to be the most active on this USBL trade day. They are going to actually make 2 separate trades here in this trade day action. First, they are going to go and trade away Mike Yastrzemski, 31 years old. He's a guy that is in the last year of his contract. He's a pretty good player, though. He is batting .271, which is about average to where he sits around, to say the least. So that's something of note. He does have some pretty good contact numbers. He's a good player all around, and they can go around. They can get themselves at least a low-end starting pitcher. They do need some major starting pitching help. Right now, they only have 3 players in the starting pitching rotation that's above a 75 overall. Steven Brault can step in. He could be the number 4 starter. And LA, is not really utilizing him that great. He does have 28 appearances so far this year, and he's 3-1. But that being said, though, he's a starting pitcher. Gotta let the man start at the end of the day. And then also to get something in right field, they are also going to go ahead and pick up Jalon Ortiz. He's a minor leaguer that's currently at the AAA level, and he's okay, and he's got C potential. He's got 62 overall to work with. He's an okay prospect. I don't know how great he'll end up being, to be honest with you, but he is thrown in order to make this deal work so that they have a little bit more reinforcements in the farm system. But then it is not going to be the only transaction that Atlanta makes. They are also going to trade away Tyler Duffy, who's in kind of a similar situation. He's aging. He's in the last year of his contract, and I don't know if maybe Atlanta wants to keep him or not. I don't think it really makes that much sense considering the direction of the team. So they're going to go ahead and work center field because they don't have a ton of depth in center field. They do have Christian Pash, but then after that, they don't really have anyone ready behind him in the event that he does get hurt. But Justin Dean, meanwhile, for the New Orleans Kings, 24 years old, a potential guy. and he's the 4th-string center fielder for the New Orleans Kings. So he doesn't get a lot of run. 36 games that he does have. Not that great of a batter. 225. He's definitely worse off than he was last year, given the more playing time that he does have. But that being said, he can steal some bases. He's got some really good speed, and you know, he could be somebody that can at least see the field a little bit more often than what he's seeing in New Orleans, and it would give Yusef Nunez a little bit more time to develop. He's a good prospect, but he's not necessarily a great prospect, so Atlanta will go ahead and make this trade as well. So then, to wrap up the trade day portion of the USBL Season 2 trade day, we do have one more trade on tap, and that is the Cleveland Rockers. They are going to be considered sellers in this one. They are going to trade away Christian Vasquez, who, I mean, he's got that 5-year contract for $9.3 million a year. He's 31 years old, and he's just not happy with the situation that's going on. How they just kind of been really conservative in free agency. They were really close to really making some noise in the USBL in season number 1, but it seems like everything is falling apart in year 2. And it's not even like he's having a bad year. He's 259, 6 homers, 20 ribbies to go with it so far. His batting average is a little bit higher, but he's just not happy. And I think it's time for both Christian Vasquez to part ways with the Cleveland Rockers. So they found a buyer in the Boston Quakers. They want to be in win now mode because Boston does not have very good catchers. They got Anthony Van Boone, who I guess is a little bit below average. We'll see how long that was. Donnie Bell, he's a deep potential 71 overall, so that's not really great for him as well. So they're going to go ahead. They will end up trading Steven Berman. He's currently on fire right now. 26 years old. He is a B potential guy. He is probably the most promising in their farm system right now, but he's at least a year or two out from making it to the USBL level. But the B potential looks really good. He can turn into something towards the level of Christian Vasquez someday. But that being said, you know, it's going to be rough at that catcher position for a little bit. Colin Moran, though, will also be traded to the Boston Quakers. He's currently a backup for them right now. He'll set behind Ryan Mountcastle, but could get a little bit more playing time. Considering there's not a lot of first basemen in the Boston Quakers organization, he'll slide in front of Ken Grubb and maybe take those designated hitter reps at that spot. But we'll see what ends up happening there. Definitely is a move to shed a little bit of cash space for the Cleveland Rockers. But let's go ahead and get some game action here as we inch ourselves closer to that All-Star break. We got a good set of games for you guys. So guys, if you haven't done so already, hit that like button, hit subscribe, man, because we got some great games on tap, starting with the Las Vegas Lounge Wizards taking on the Minnesota Ducks. Two teams have been very good and very competitive, as Minnesota looks to continue to try to hang on to that lead in the American League Central. I mean, they got to deal with the Chicago Freeze in their own division. It's a brutal division, especially with how Pittsburgh and Columbus are both improved teams as well. It's not an easy division to win by any stretch. So Minnesota Ducks, they've been doing really good so far, but they got to keep the pressure up. We'll see if they can do that here, as the Minnesota Ducks will end up getting on the board first here. They will get an RBI triple to start things out. And so Minnesota will start off with a 1-0 lead to get it started here, as Fernando Tatis Jr. had that nice RBI triple to get it going against German Marquez. As we'll go ahead and jump into the bottom of the second inning, Gary Waters is going to also get involved as well. He's going to hit a single out right in front of Cody Bellinger. In Minnesota, right away, making it a 2-0 lead. Matter of fact, German Marquez is already going to get a mound visit from the manager, because it's not been a great look for Las Vegas so far. You know, just trying to get some things figured out right now. It hasn't been a good start for Las Vegas whatsoever. So hopefully we'll see if that mound visit does anything or not, as Vad Gonzalez, he's also going to hit it over the middle. We might see another run scoring. It's going to be close, but no! What a throw by Cody Bellinger. able to get it out there in time. And the lead will stay at 2-0. What an incredible throw out there in center field. As we'll now go ahead, jump into the bottom of the third inning. Could have been a clean inning for German Marquez, but that being said, we will see a double from Ramon Laureano. It's a 17th double of the season, so he could get involved in action, as well as Garrett Cooper will try to bring him home. Gonna test that arm of Cody Bellinger. He's already gunned down one person. He will not gun down a second, as Garrett Cooper is going to be able to go ahead and get that single. It's been a rough game for German Marquez, unfortunately, but his team is still in it. They're only down 3-0 despite that awful, well, I wouldn't say an awful start, but definitely less than ideal. But Las Vegas will eventually go ahead. They will get themselves on the board, and it will be a 3-2 affair as Travis Denard makes it a 3-2 game with just one swing of the at-bat. Could be a tie game too, as somehow Chad Diogera gets in there with his 7th steal of the season. We'll see if Kyle Tucker can go ahead and bring him home as well, but Kyle Tucker is going to be whiffing on some air instead, because we will end up seeing Luis Castillo get that strikeout. And so it will remain a 3-2 game, but Las Vegas, man, they are right back in this ball game. We'll see if this bullpen for Las Vegas, who now has stepped in and take over, German Marquez barely making it through 5 innings. It was not a pretty performance for him, but to be fair, the bullpen is not really doing much help either, as Fad Gonzalez able to get that single over the line. And now it's back to a 3-1 lead for the Minnesota Ducks in this one, as Fad Gonzalez is going to be able to go ahead, get his 13th RBI double of the season. Nice way to rope it down the third base line as well, as it will end up bringing up Fernando Tatis Jr. once again. We got a 1-2 count to work with. He's going to hit this one in the right center field. It's going to end up dropping, and that will end up scoring. Thad Gonzalez. Tatis going for third base. They're not going to even try to attempt to throw. They're just going to bring it out to home plate to make sure Fernando Tatis at least does not go ahead and get himself an inside the park home run. We'll see if it works out for him. Will Smith trying to bring him home, but Domingo German is going to hold things up. He will end up denying yet another run from scoring to keep Las Vegas back in this game. But the bats for the Lounge Wizards, they got to go ahead and get themselves going. We'll see if Christian Walker can get it started on a high note, as Walker, he's going to hit this one out into left field. Is going to be carrying. It might leave the ballpark, and it barely gets over the wall. 15th home run of the season for Christian Walker. It prompts the Minnesota Ducks to go to their bullpen. They want James Pesos in the game now. Still a 3-run affair, and James Peso makes sure that no damage is done, just being electric in that 7th inning. So that bat really set the tone, as that was a moment where Las Vegas could really have worked themselves back into this game, but leaving with a 3-run deficit, oh man, that is going to be a really tough look, especially when Minnesota just has a really good offense this season. Garrett Cooper, he gets a home run himself. And as if Minnesota did not need any more runs, they will go ahead and try to add a little bit more insurance. As Fad Gonzalez looking to go deep here in the outfield. Is it going to leave the ballpark? It does. Fad Gonzalez also hits a home run. Only his 8th one of the season so far. And Las Vegas got to go to their bullpen at least one more time. Cam Bredosian coming into the game. It's going to be his 28th appearance of the year. We're going to get one specific out against Fernando Tatis Jr. 1-2 count. Coming in. He will end up getting the strikeout swinging. And Fad Gonzalez and company will help the Minnesota Ducks win this one. Their 51st win of the season. It is currently the best in all of baseball right now, as it will end up being an 8-3 victory in favor of the Ducks over Las Vegas. So how about that offensive action to get things started here? But now we go to a different place, at least in terms of the teams. Milwaukee Bears are still alive in the NL Central West. It is a pretty close race out there in the NL Central, but we want to talk about a team that's arguably the most disappointing this entire season. The Phoenix Firebirds have just simply not looked good over the course of this entire season so far. And so they really need to get some momentum before we go into the All-Star break, just so that they can feel a little bit better about themselves. But Lorenzo Cain has something different to say about that as that leaves the ballpark. And how about that? To extend your hitting streak, it is now officially up to 9 games now. And it's already a 1-0 affair, as we will end up seeing Bregman getting struck out by Corey Kluber. And to help create some run support for Jarwin Morton, who is a solid pitcher for the Milwaukee Bears. No, certainly not good or elite to say the least, but average pitcher. But you're going to need a little bit more than average against this lineup, at least when we see them in gameplay. When we see them play in the game, the offense is nearly unstoppable. They're either close to or end up getting double-digit runs, it seems like, every time we do end up seeing them in gameplay. And right now, looking like it's not so different, as Phoenix not wasting too much time. They will get their first run on the board already here in the bottom of this second inning, as now Austin Noah looking to try to add on to this 1-run inning for the Phoenix Firebirds. This looks to help. Can Gio Ursula get on the horse and get himself all the way home? And he does. So Phoenix doubling up on the Milwaukee Bears, already getting a couple of runs across home plate. And we will see a mound visit for Charlie Morton. But at least for right now, he will still remain in the game, as it is going to be a strikeout looking. My man out there really just doing some window shopping, as Phoenix will take a 2-1 lead for the time being. But let's go ahead and jump into the top of the 4th inning from Mel Reyes, looking to at least tie things up with just one swing of the at-bat. That looks really good out there in center field. Is it carrying all the way out of the ballpark? No! It barely stays in the stadium, but we will end up seeing a run scoring nonetheless. And just like that, Milwaukee is going to go ahead and tie things up at 2. We'll see if Alex Dickerson can give Milwaukee the lead back. 2-2 count. Still nobody out in the top of the 4th inning. Definitely seeing some hard hit balls out here in the desert, as that will end up being a triple. And Milwaukee also enjoying the lead again for the first time since the 1st inning. But they're not even done yet. Quinn Frazier at the plate. He's going to rip one out into right center field. Going to be able to bring Alex Bregman home. Going to be a close throw at second, but will end up being safe none of the less. Quinn Frazier with that RBI double, making it a 4-2 affair, is now going out over, as we will end up seeing Milwaukee score yet another run, forcing the action over there to first base, as it does take us out to James McCann. 1-1 count here, 1 out in the top of the 4th inning. McCann gonna swing one through the gap in the infield, and hang on, we got a throw at the plate, and just barely not in time though, could not get the tag. And Milwaukee does take a 6-2 lead here, as now Josh Wolf comes into the game for the Phoenix Firebirds. And Josh Wolf is making his USBL debut right now. We have not been seeing any folks actually getting called up, around this point of the season. I will show in a later episode after the All-Star break we'll have to wait and see, the ramifications of the USBL trade day in terms of who's going to get called up, who's going to get sent down in the process. But that being said, though, we will end up, we'll see Josh Wolf's debut, and I mean, it's not going very well whatsoever. I mean, Josh Wolf is just getting torn apart here, and just, I don't know, maybe there's just some of the young guys on the Phoenix roster that are just not ready to contribute to a winning team. I don't know exactly what's going on, but to actually end things on a better note for Josh Wolf, he does at least end up getting his very first USBL strikeout. But still, you're down by 6 runs, and nothing has changed as we're here in the 8th inning. And Jonathan Scoop is really trying to open up this gap, and it's yet another home run for Milwaukee. The 6th home run of the season. And now it's a 10-2 game. Phoenix just absolutely being torn apart right now. I don't know what you can do at this point, as that's almost another home run there as well. You got a guy out there at third base, even though the man is as slow as molasses. The ball was in the air for so long that Mitch Moreland was able to round the bases, get all the way around to third. If a slightly faster person was involved, that could have been an inside the park home run. But Mitch Moreland will be able to get home nonetheless. And it's an 11-2 game. How do you even come back from this? How do you try to recover? Well, you got 2 innings to do it. And if there's any offense out there that could overcome it, it's this Phoenix Firebirds offense. We haven't seen it yet today, but we'll see if that changes here as Jeff McNeil looks to go ahead, get himself to work. He's going to face off against Dan Dunnan. It's an interesting little name right there, but Jeff McNeil able to get the double. Maybe that's what they need to get this rally started. The guys before Aaron Judge got to get on base. That hasn't happened, but Jeff McNeil, at the very least, no matter what happens, will keep his hitting streak alive. It's now up to 6 games, and we got an error out there on the field. Everybody is going to end up being safe. It will be considered an error for Mitch Moreland. So now there is going to be runners on the corners. And here comes Juan Soto. 291 batting average, 16 homers, 36 RBIs to go with it as well. As Soto looking to take the 1-1 pitch. It's hit out into left center field. It's going to bring in 1 run. Could very well bring in 2. Unless the throw comes in quickly. It does not. And Juan Soto doubles the run count for the Phoenix Firebirds. Is now down to a 7-run game as Milwaukee goes to the bullpen. Looking to bring in Ryan Tapria. His 19th appearance of the season. Gotta face Aaron Judge, and you cannot make any mistakes against Aaron Judge. It's short and simple as that. Finding out the hard way, Judge gets his 17th home run of the season. And things could get a little bit interesting. Now it's just a 5-run game. It's a 5-run differential. There is 2 outs here, though. So we'll see if Ryan Tapria is going to be able to get out of it. But we see yet another base runner, George Soler, going to get himself yet another double. Are we going to see a massive inning by the Phoenix Firebirds? Is that what's going on right now? As we got another double here. Noah, 2 for 3 so far in the day, facing Tapria. He's going to hit this one out into right center field. It's got some distance on it. It does not leave the ballpark. But George Soler is going to be able to get home himself. And now it's down to a 4-run game. Phoenix trying to bounce back. This would be an epic comeback if Phoenix is going to be able to somehow find a way to complete it. And that being said, another RBI single up the middle of the field. Now it's just a 3-run game all of a sudden. And it forced Milwaukee to go to bullpen again. Nick Anderson, this is their closer for Milwaukee. He was acquired during the USBL trade day portion. This is his first appearance as a Milwaukee Beer, and looking good in the process. Gets that strikeout at the end of the 8th inning. Milwaukee does not get any, insurance run, so just a free run lead for Phoenix, and that will certainly not help the cause whatsoever. An error. Yes, an error gets a man on base for Aaron Judge, and like I said before, you cannot have people on base for Aaron Judge. More often than not, he will make you pay for it, as Aaron Judge, he's actually trying to stretch this out to a triple and is actually successful. But that being said, because Aaron Judge was not thrown out at third, we will see the tying run at the plate. Luke Volk going to put a nice charge into his ball. He will end up being out, but it's more than deep enough for Aaron Judge to be able to get himself home. And now it's just a one-run game. They have stormed back from an 11-2 deficit as Gio Ursula looks to play hero. Can he tie the game? It's a small grounder to second base. This could end it, and it does. So a very spirited comeback for the Phoenix Firebirds, but Milwaukee will be able to hang on, and they will get themselves back over 500 with an 11-10 victory. What a performance, though. But speaking of matchups for these NL Central teams, go ahead and check on the Aurora Lightning, who are also sitting at 500. They are going to be facing off against the San Francisco Seals, and San Francisco, they are going to trot out Rick Slade on the mound. Now, this is a guy, 7-3, 4.23 ERA, but he's making his first start, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes. But that being said, Salvador Perez is going to help out the young pitcher as he gets his 18th home run of the season. As Salvador Perez does go ahead and give San Francisco the lead. They will end up striking first in this ball game and will give themselves a 1-0 lead here in the top of the second. As now Josh Donaldson, he's at the plate as well. He's a bad man, but that being said, though, Josh Donaldson just going to go ahead and do a little bit of window shopping. He ends up striking out looking here, and that will end up meaning that we will end up seeing the inning end as we go ahead, jump into the bottom of the third inning. Zach Collins, he's back at the plate. He gets a nice little shot out there in the right field, and it's going to carry out of his ballpark, and this ball's going to be gone like a girl in a country song. 10th home run of the season for Zach Collins, as it will knot it up at 1 apiece. But that being said, though, this is not the only time where we will end up seeing the young pitcher Rick Slade in trouble. He's got the bases loaded right now. 2 outs, though. We'll see if Rick Slade can get himself out of this situation, or he's going to throw a walk, and he literally is going to walk a run in. That is absolutely tough, as it does give Aurora a 2-1 lead here, as the Aurora defense is really shown out in this ball game. How about that steal attempt? Nice job by Zach Collins getting in there and blowing that play up. So now 2 outs here in the top of the 6th inning. Paul Goldschmidt, the defending home run derby champion, figured that would be something to note, as the All-Star game is right around the corner. As this hit out into left field, it's going to carry, and it will stay fair as well. So this game is now tied up at 2 thanks to Paul Goldschmidt's home run. And we got ourselves a pretty close ball game. It's been an exciting one, that's for sure. As now, top of the 8th inning, gonna see Travis Lincoln Sr. give up a run that will end up giving San Francisco the lead once again. And now it's a 3-2 affair all of a sudden. 10th RBI double for him is now Nick Castellanos. He's at the plate as well. And he's a guy that he's been hitting a lot of bombs as well, as that is not a deep drive out the left field, but it's a nice drive to the opposite end. This should bring in yet another run as well. So San Francisco starting to get that offensive prowess going here a little bit, getting 2 runs here in the top of the 8th inning. It's a 4-2 affair now, as Salvador Perez, he looks to extend it out further. This is hit deep out in the right field, and it will end up dropping in the field of play. Salvador Perez gets himself a double to go with it as well. And it is now a 5-2 game. So, Aurora, they got to go to the bullpen. They need some Steve Kishek in their life right now. It's a free run game as Willie Adames, he ends up striking out looking. So Steve Chesnick keeping the Aurora Lightning in this game. It's certainly going to be really helpful. But we got to see if San Francisco, here in the top of the 9th inning, do they get some insurance run-ins? Nick Whitgren is going to look to make sure that does not happen. They need all the help that they can get because they're not that great on offense. But you know who is pretty great? Josh Donaldson, as he sends this one out into the right center field gap. He's got not the most speed, but he will try to spread this out to a double, and he will get in there. So a double for Josh Donaldson, 16th double of the season. As now that brings up Ozzy Albies, who's been down bad today, 0 for 4 on this day. We'll see if Ozzy can come in and hit big here, and that will certainly help. It will be considered a sacrifice fly, but that being said, that will also go ahead and bring in Josh Donaldson from third base. So Ozzy Albies, even though he does not get credited with a hit, he will get himself an RBI, and it will make it, I believe it's 6-2. As now Ernest Cabrera gonna come in, and he's going to get the save attempt. We'll see how this turns out for him. Going to be facing off against Zach Collins, who's 1 for 3 on the day so far, as that hit is out into left field, and Zach Collins is going to be looking to keep this game alive for the Aurora Lightning. So hang on, fellas. They ain't done yet. Here comes the Rally Caps, baby. Is now Kiki Hernandez. We ask ourselves, if Kiki, do you love me? We sure love that base hit. It could bring in Zach Collins to throw from center field, not being in time. And just like that, it is just a free run game. Do you believe in miracles? Because I think we might have one right before our eyes. But that being said, Brad Hand is actually going to come into the game here. This is their real closer. And Brad Hand's been pretty good. 22 for 24 on save opportunities right now for Booker Hobbs. We're going to get a big hit down the left field. Is it going to hit the ballpark? It does. So Booker Hobbs, only his 3rd home run of the entire season, makes this a 1-run game. Anthony Rendon with a chance to play hero and jams his bat. It's an easy fly out to Brad Hand, and this game is going to be over. And San Francisco will end up coming out on top. They win this one by a final score of 6-5. So what a game, what a performance for sure. As we cut into the final game that I wanted to show in this episode, the Pittsburgh Force taking on the Baltimore Stone Crabs. And we got a little bit of a nice pitching matchup here. Justin Verlander is going to be taking on Chris Sale, and this was certainly a one for the masses. As we go away all the way to the top of the 7th inning, and there still has not been any runs scored in this game. It's been a battle. It's been a defensive affair, but eventually someone is going to have to blink, and it looks like Justin Verlander is the one that's going to blink. Tommy La Stella going to get the first run on the board finally in the 7th inning. So Baltimore, they call out Jonathan Chasire, who's making his USBL season debut and does his job really well. Gets the fly out to the catcher. So Pittsburgh does end up scoring, but only doing so off of 1 hit. As look at what we've seen in this game. 4 hits combined between these two squads. And it made me really surprised to see that Chris Sale was pulled, because he had himself a complete game shutout going. They call out Richie Burns, which, hey, it's a bold decision. I got to give him that. It's certainly bold. Nathaniel Davis is going to try to help out the cause a little bit. Look at that max speed, 21 miles per hour. Almost got tagged out despite that, so that was a good job by the catcher too. Just Nathaniel Davis just doing a great job stealing in that case. and that will lead to a score for Baltimore as well. Manny Machado able to hit Nathaniel Davis in. It's now a tied game, but Machado will be pulled out of the game because Kyle Isbell will become the pinch runner. And so, Will Myers, he's at the plate, but look at this aggression. Kyle Isbell manages to steal third base, and get this, guys. This is the first stolen base of the entire season so far. You literally cannot make this up. That is absolutely insane. And you want to talk about insanity. How about this hit out into right field? It will be considered a second out, but Kyle Isbell going to be able to get home as well. So nice job by Isbell. He literally helped Baltimore manufacture a run, and they go into the top of the 9th inning with a 2-1 lead and put the game in the hands of Jonathan Hernandez. 21 for 26 unsaved so far. We check out who is subbed in. Johan Carmago. He will be the defensive appearance guy, or at least a defensive substitute for third base, subbing in for Kyle Isbell, who was the pinch runner, as it will bring up Tim LaCastro. Now, he does not have a hit in this entire game so far, but this might change in a big way. Is it going to leave the ballpark? And no! Okay, wow. So it actually does leave the ballpark by the way of a ground rule double. So now you got the tying run on base. Oriol Suarez with a chance, and needless to say, Suarez just brought in the game tying run. It's now knotted up at 2 apiece. But we will see Nick Senzo on the base paths, because we know Oriol Suarez, not a fast guy. You need some speed. Kyle Schwarber, that might certainly help. Oh, if it leaves the ballpark, this game is over. And it is just that. Kyle Schwarber with a home run to help give Pittsburgh the lead. And Baltimore has to go to their bullpen to go and grab Jace Fry. We'll be taking on Daniel Vogelbach. He was recently brought up. Again, I will be showing all of the call-ups, all of the send-downs for each of the USBL squads in the All-Star episode. That will be a couple episodes from now. But that being said, what an exciting last few innings of action, as we will end up seeing the Pittsburgh Force win an exciting ball game. 4-2 was the final. So I thought about adding a few other games for the USBL Trade Day special, but I thought it was already getting a little bit longer. So what I am going to do, next episode, I will show the last 4 games before the All-Star break. And then after that episode, we will have the All-Star break, show the Futures game, show all of the AA and AAA All-Star games, Home Run Derby, USBL All-Star, you name it, we're going to show it. And then also in that All-Star episode, we will also show all of the call-ups and all of the send-downs throughout the USBL. So it's going to be a really exciting next couple of episodes, and I hope you're excited for it. If you are, I need you guys to go ahead, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you guys be brand new. This is JohnJake Baseball on the mic, signing off. I'm hoping you're all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.